In the vast, untamed waters of the Pacific Ocean, a story of ambition, bravery, and ultimate tragedy unfolded. Imagine a world where the boundaries of the known were constantly being pushed, where men set sail into the unknown, driven by a desire to explore and conquer. One such man, Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese explorer, led one of the most daring and dangerous expeditions in history. His goal was to find a western route to the Spice Islands, a quest that would change the world forever. But his journey ended not in glory, but in a brutal and shocking death on the shores of a small island called Mactan, in what is now the Philippines. Magellan's death was not a quiet or peaceful one. It was a violent and chaotic scene, a crescendo of battle cries, the clash of steel, and the roar of the waves. On that fateful day, Magellan and his men faced a fierce group of warriors led by the local chieftain, Lapu-Lapu. The fight was intense, with both sides showing incredible courage and determination. Magellan, despite being wounded, fought on, his resolve unwavering. However, the odds were against him. Surrounded by enemies, he fell to the ground, his body torn apart by the weapons of the Mactan warriors. The sea, which had carried him so far, now washed away the last traces of his existence. This is the story of Ferdinand Magellan, a man whose name is synonymous with exploration, but whose life ended in a manner that few could have predicted. It is a tale of ambition, leadership, and the harsh realities of exploration in the 16th century. To understand the full impact of Magellan's journey and his death, we need to look back at the beginning, a time when the world was a place of great mystery and endless possibilities. Magellan was born in Portugal around 1480. From a young age, he was drawn to the sea and the tales of distant lands. He joined the Portuguese Navy and quickly rose through the ranks, earning a reputation for his skill and bravery. However, his relationship with the Portuguese crown was complicated. Despite his many achievements, he faced setbacks and disappointments, leading him to seek support elsewhere. In 1517, he approached the Spanish king Charles I, who would later become Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, with a proposal for a voyage to find a western route to the Spice Islands. King Charles, eager to expand Spain's influence and wealth, agreed to sponsor the expedition. On September 20, 1519, Magellan set sail from Seville with a fleet of 5 ships, the Trinidad, Victoria, Concepcion, Santiago, and San Antonio. Each ship was crewed by a mix of nationalities, including Spanish, Portuguese, Italians, and Greeks. The crew numbered around 270 men, many of them seasoned sailors and explorers. Magellan's plan was ambitious. He would navigate through the treacherous waters of the Atlantic, find a passage through the continent of South America, and then sail across the vast Pacific Ocean to reach the Spice Islands. The journey was fraught with challenges from the start. The fleet faced rough seas, storms, and the constant threat of mutiny. In the Strait of Magellan, which he discovered and named after himself, the crew faced some of the most dangerous waters they had ever encountered. The strait is known for its strong currents, hidden rocks, and unpredictable weather. It took the fleet a month to navigate through the strait, during which time one of the ships, the Santiago, was lost in a storm. Once they emerged into the Pacific, the challenges continued. The vastness of the ocean was a shock to the crew, who had expected to reach the Spice Islands much sooner. The journey across the Pacific was a test of endurance and survival. The ships ran low on food and fresh water, and many of the crew suffered from scurvy, a disease caused by a lack of vitamin C. The conditions were so dire that some of the crew began to lose hope, and mutiny was a constant threat. Magellan's leadership was crucial during this time. He maintained discipline and kept the crew motivated, even when the situation seemed hopeless. After 3 months at sea, the fleet finally reached the Mariana Islands, where they restocked their supplies. From there, they continued their journey, eventually arriving in the Philippines in March 1521. The Philippines, at the time, was a collection of independent island communities, each with its own chieftain or raja. Magellan's arrival was met with curiosity and some hospitality. He formed an alliance with the Raja of Cebu, Humabon, who converted to Christianity and encouraged his people to do the same. This alliance seemed to be a turning point for the expedition, but it also set the stage for a tragic end. Magellan's decision to involve himself in local politics was a fatal mistake. He supported Humabon in a conflict with a neighboring chieftain, Lapu-Lapu, who ruled the island of Mactan. Despite warnings from his own men, Magellan decided to lead a small force to help Humabon. The battle that followed was a disaster. Despite their advanced weaponry, Magellan and his men were no match for the determined and well-prepared Mactan warriors. The battle on the shores of Mactan was a brutal and chaotic affair, with both sides fighting with all their might. Magellan, despite his courage, was outnumbered and overwhelmed. He was struck by a poisoned arrow, and as he tried to pull it out, he was attacked from all sides. His men, seeing their leader fall, tried to protect him, but it was too late. Magellan was killed, his body torn apart by the weapons of the Mactan warriors. The death of Magellan was a profound shock to his crew. The man who had led them through so much, who had inspired them to follow him into the unknown, was gone. The fleet, now leaderless and demoralized, faced a difficult decision. They could not continue the voyage without a strong leader. After a period of uncertainty, the remaining ships, now under the command of Juan Sebastián Elcano, decided to continue the journey to the Spice Islands. They reached their destination, but the journey was far from over. The ships faced more challenges, including storms, disease, and the constant threat of attack from other European powers. In the end, only one ship, the Victoria, made it back to Spain in September 1522, almost 3 years after the expedition had set sail. The journey had been a remarkable feat of navigation and endurance, but it had come at a great cost. Of the 270 men who had set out, only 18 returned. The survivors brought back valuable spices and information about the lands they had explored, but the human toll was high. Magellan's death on the shores of Mactan was a stark reminder of the dangers of exploration. It was a tragedy that could have been avoided, but it also highlighted the risks and sacrifices that explorers of the time had to make. Magellan's legacy, however, is one of immense achievement. His expedition was the first to circumnavigate the globe, proving that the world was indeed round and opening up new routes for trade and exploration. His name is remembered as one of the greatest navigators of all time, a man who dared to challenge the unknown and push the boundaries of human knowledge. The story of Magellan is a powerful reminder of the human spirit's capacity for adventure and discovery. It is a tale of ambition, courage, and the sometimes tragic consequences of reaching for the stars. In the end, Magellan's death on the shores of Mactan did not diminish his legacy. Instead, it added a poignant and unforgettable chapter to the annals of exploration, a chapter that continues to inspire and fascinate people around the world.